I like the shirt.
Chill part in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very appropriate.
It's the only way to do it. Keep yourself sane.
That's right. Got to make memes about it. So, what's up, everybody? We're live. You guys are early. It's a surprise live stream, so people will trickle in, I'm sure, but we'll just get right into it. So we got the audio working this time. Big news. I finally figured out how to do a fucking live stream. You would think by now, but no. So we're going to use StreamYard from now on, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great. So, you want to, I mean, people already know who you are, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we got it out in the second attempt of the last stream before we got cut off there. And
yeah,
but yeah, I certainly think so by now.
Yeah.
At least some of the haters as of this morning know who I am as well. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You made quite the splash today. So for anyone that hasn't heard, Cabana was out here repping HEX for all of us on that one hater channel. And, I don't even know their name. They're not even really worth mentioning, but it's basically just like getting blasted for like 2 hours. Same old stuff, recycling and big payday dump and other conspiracy theories that like HEX is going to die one day. I
actually asked that or brought up those 2 points. I was like, if you can prove to me that HEX is a scam without resorting to the OA has a lot of ETH or Richard Hart is a bad person or I don't like Richard, have at it. And didn't happen because nobody can. So.
Yeah. I mean, the OA has a lot of ETH, a lot of HEX. That's what you signed up for. That's always been apparent.
No expectations. I tried to repeat that and Yeah.
And like for any lawyer watching or anyone looking to make a quick buck off, like, somehow, going after HEX, I don't care if this all goes to zero. That's my responsibility. I'm not looking to go after anybody. I have better shit to do than, go after people and try to make a case where there really isn't one there. I believe in the project, really. I believe in it and I want it to succeed. And that's why I'm talking about it. That's why I own it. And that's why I'm helping to build stuff for it. I mean, I want this to succeed because I think it can make a lot of people more wealthy than not. And if you want to believe that Richard is going to get wealthy off this, sure, you're entitled to that belief. I'm not saying he won't. But I think wealth, like I've said before, is a positive sum game. And it can make a lot of people wealthy in the process, just like crypto has in general. Crypto's got losers and winners, but I think the people that won, the people that continue to win, are the people that just buy and hold when things go up. And that's why this whole HEX thing is so perfect. It's because that's what it was designed for you to do. It was to buy and hold and disincentivize you from selling, which is really the only way that cryptocurrencies go up in price. And that's the only way they get adoption. People like to say, oh, but yeah, utility. Really? None of this shit has any real, like, I hate to break it to you, but nobody's using any of this stuff. And they won't.
You were on a stream yesterday with RG3 and he basically brought up baseball cards. And that's, you kind of think about it. It's kind of accurate. It goes with what you're saying there.
Yeah. I mean, none of this has utility until it has the network effect of everybody else having it. And no one else is going to want to own it if they don't think it's going to go up in price. So speculation leads to adoption. And then we'll have utility one day. When people want to use Bitcoin or HEX or whatever cryptocurrency for payments, you're going to need a payment. You're going to need a currency that's stable, that doesn't fluctuate 50% in a day, like Bitcoin did in February. Like every currency, and not just Bitcoin, every currency does this. They have wild fluctuations. And they're not useful for anything other than speculation and storing wealth so far. Yeah. I'm not saying they never will be, but we need to get there. And how we get there is we create currencies. Like we're all part of the same team. We all want mass crypto adoption. But we get there by the price going up because that's why people like to buy these. Samsonite asks, are lawyers going after it? No, I don't think they are. I just noticed that there was like a lawyer lurking in that live stream that you did.
Yeah.
Probably just looking like, rubbing his hands, looking for a way to make a buck off some kind of a case or whatever. But I don't. So far, nothing.
Well, he was pretty reasonable, I thought, and I've seen him on one of those streams before. I haven't, obviously watched too many of them. I think Hexa was like, unsubscribe. I was like, dude, I don't subscribe to this. I just happened to see it in my YouTube, the YouTube algorithm, called like HEX. And it was like, oh, you must like HEX. I was like, well, yes, I do. I'll check it out. So, what are you drinking there, by the way?
I got a glass of wine.
All right, cool.
Quarantine's finally getting to me.
Coca-Cola, and I guess we should do a cheers to HEX hitting a new high today.
Hey, cheers to that, homie.
All right.
All-time high. And it's such a great thing to see all-time highs every like week.
Every few days, yeah, it's crazy.
You're not getting that in cryptos these days.
Yep.
You're getting a lot of bear market. Although
I am, since I am Bitcoin friendly, I am liking the action there. Not to like totally break off, but right around this 93, 9,500 level, I think it can chop around. If it can bust through 9,500, it looks good for the rest of the year. It's got that, it's bumping up against the upper end of that triangle, and that's a long base that it's building. So that's exciting, for the Bitcoin crowd out there.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. Whoever thinks that you have to like one thing and hate everything else, like let the record show. I'm very, very bullish on Bitcoin.
Same.
I'm excited. It's a cool time. The halvening is setting us all up to pump everyone's bag.
Were you in the toned vase stream? Were you one of the 50 faces on the wall there?
No, I was not. I was not invited.
I wasn't invited either. So yeah,
they don't really know who I am.
Same.
Yeah, until Hex moons, and then maybe.
Yeah,
but
well, it was awfully nice of our Hex community to throw them some tips and give Hex some shout outs there. So shout out to Firebun and a couple others that did that.
That was really chill, really, really cool guys. No other community would do that. They would just talk shit. And instead, you guys are out here trying to promote adoption, and they're in the chat censoring it, not accepting your money. They could take it. They could take your $20 tip and convert it into Bitcoin. But
that's probably what they did.
I don't know. I heard they didn't even take the tip. I heard they censored the entire tip.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, cheers, Samsonite. Samsonite's drinking with us, so cheers, man.
Oh, hey.
I've been very sober this quarantine, and this is the first, this past week I've had more drinks than I've had in the entire 2.5 months.
Yeah.
So I'm starting to think something is getting to me. I might be snapping a little bit. But it's almost over. We're on the home stretch.
I'm down like 20 pounds, so it's like, but I can't, say the same. It's due to less alcohol consumption. That's probably stayed the same, but
good for you.
Just there's nothing to do. So it's like you want to get outside, running more and stuff like that, and doing more yoga and good yoga, DDP yoga. Not a paid endorsement, but got to get the wrestling plug in there.
Cool.
So
what kind of yoga is that? EDP?
DDP. He's a former pro wrestler. I think he's like 64, 65 years old now. And he's basically brought some of these bodies like that were just demolished from professional wrestling, even football players, and doing like isometrics, resistance, just that kind of yoga, not the Maharishi, none of that, but like long push-ups and holding positions and stuff like that. It's a different form of it. It's like a dude's yoga, but yeah, man. I mean, you get your heart rate up and it burns the fat, so it's pretty cool. There's not a lot of resistance, or not resistance, but impact. So if you have bad knees or joints, thankfully I don't have those yet, but for those older or who have faced some damage over the years just from repetitive, beatings like wrestling or football or something like that. That's a great exercise. Even back injuries, it's good for that. So it's cool stuff. But
yeah, it's great. You got to do something physical, man. The gym not being around has been the hardest part for me. And I was never You seem like, were you a wrestler or?
No. I'm just he was a former pro wrestling champ, so like
Okay.
WCW, WWE.
Okay.
But yeah, I watched a bunch of that stuff. So anybody in the chat that watches wrestling, throw your favorite wrestler in there. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's
I would. Yeah, I wasn't much of a wrestler. I would have gotten my ass beat, but I was a runner, so track, cross country.
Nice.
And,
yeah, I still run 5Ks. Yeah.
Good for you. It's awesome. You got to do something physical. It really calms your mind down. It releases a lot of endorphins, oxytocin, and stuff that you just don't get if you're all cooped up at home. And then next thing you know, you're going to be making angry YouTube videos about, hacks or whatever.
People, that's how you let it all out for some people. It's that's their release or exercise.
Yep. Which is what Samsonite said. Did you see the Cointelegraph chat with Chico Crypto? Did you happen to catch that?
No.
Oh man, this guy Chico. I've never even really watched this guy on.
I love Chico. He's like totally chill and down to earth, honest. And if it's the same guy I'm thinking of, it's like him and another dude, and he'll do like these 10-12 minute videos daily, and he really gets into like just he dives in deep for some of these projects and names that he researches, and it's stuff that would take so much time to dig up. And I guess he and his partner have that worked out, but they're really informative videos.
It's good. I might have to give him a follow. He came into a Cointelegraph chat live stream for the happening, and he just let loose on everybody, man. He just told everybody a new one, and it was really funny. And that was my first time seeing him, and so I kind of had a weird impression.
I hope that's the same guy.
I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but he is calling everyone out for promoting basically this toxic, like high liquidity margin trading stuff, which a lot of
that's gotta be him.
And speaking out against it takes some balls, and he did it in such a just berating way where he's just like, fuck you, I'm out of here, come watch my live stream. I just came in here to say fuck you.
That's gotta be him, because he'll even call out other YouTubers, and I tend to play nice, but he's like, yo, this guy shilling Bybit, and they just take money from the people that you're shilling them to, and I'm just like, dang, man, he doesn't care.
Yeah. If you make a lot of money on crypto exchange referrals, especially like BitMEX and Deribit, stuff like that, you're making money on people probably losing a lot of money.
Especially in one of those that offer the margin, just ridiculous X leverage, super high leverage. It's like, man, you're just begging to get wrecked.
And I'm not some moral saint or anything. I'm not here to preach like what's right or wrong, but I'm not going to promote crypto trading for that reason, especially not give ref links to trading platforms. And I got that from Richard, honestly. It was a good idea. Richard used to promote trading and doesn't anymore. And his change of heart, no pun intended, actually kind of, it opened my eyes. And he changed his mind. I guess this Chico Crypto guy is in the same boat. And also Data Dash, the Data Dash guy, Nick Merton, he is very honest about not shilling, referral links to high liquidity, high leverage. I keep saying high liquidity, high leverage trading platforms.
Now, see, I want to say that Chico is not a fan of Data Dash as well.
Why?
I don't know that one. Like, there's so many. He calls out so many people, but I'm almost certain maybe somebody in the chat knows. But I watch a lot of crypto videos, and Chico is one of the nightly ones I actually watch because he offers some really good content.
Yeah, I've never heard of Chico. Data Dash seems squeaky clean to me. I can't imagine him.
I like his videos, but I'll have to rewatch what Chico's beef is. I think it's him. Of course, it could be any one of a bunch of other crypto YouTubers, but I thought it was Chico and Data Dash, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Good says, or D Good says, Chico thinks very highly of himself, just like Richard. So maybe they are smart, and smart people do tend to think highly of themselves if they're accurately judging how smart they are. The problem is, I think having a platform makes you appear a lot smarter than you might actually be.
Yeah.
I don't gauge myself as a genius, just a little bit above average. And I think Richard's definitely smarter than me. Chico, no idea. But that's the funny thing about gauging your own intelligence, right? We always like to think of ourselves as better than we really are.
Mhm.
And a lot of us, it's probably me included, have this self-aggrandized version of who we think we are versus who we really are. Luckily, the way you talk about yourself and the way you carry yourself actually kind of speaks that into reality a lot of the time.
Yeah,
So,
social media has a lot to do with that nowadays. It's like,
yeah,
the old meme where it's like, this is me on LinkedIn, and this is me on Facebook, and this is me on Instagram. And it's
love that
got
one.
like 4 different pictures of like how people present themselves across different social platforms.
Yeah, it's true. And perception is reality. So that's the cool thing about the internet is you can kind of have your own persona, which I'm just trying to be myself. I'm not trying to have a persona. So when people are watching my YouTube videos, they're kind of watching a diary of me, like as I'm going through my own thought process.
Mhm.
I hope I never claim to know anything right or wrong. I'm
Mhm.
just trying to talk about and sort this out in my own head. And then I'm hoping that a lot of people are going through what I'm going through, internally,
Right.
and that I can actually kind of help people out in that regard. I don't know if that's bias or groupthink, but I think as long
And
as
that's an interesting point that you bring up there, is because on my channel that I started, I guess, in January, and literally I had no advertising. I was just joking with you about this before the stream. I was like, I haven't put much into it, but what I did do was kind of for myself. It was like, I want myself to be on record, and for me to be able to look back and be like, you know what, this is kind of what I'm thinking with Bitcoin, after the crash. And I kind of wanted just documented on video. Didn't share it with anybody or anything like that, but just made like a series of price chart videos talking over the chart, and they're horrible. There's no production quality or anything like that. That's going to change later this year, so I promise you. So,
yeah,
I'll show my channel later, I guess, that, hopefully I can get some subscribers. But
hey, man, we'll help each other.
Yeah, man. I can't wait, because I have a lot of contacts and some hedge fund managers that I can't wait to bring on, not just about crypto, but to get their opinions on crypto, because that's like the next level, right? It's like getting those guys to tell their clients, you know what, the Paul Tudor Jones thing, 1%, 1 to 2%,
one little percent, guys. Everyone should have 1 or 2% of their portfolio in crypto.
You get those guys to start just putting in 1%.
Yep.
And maybe it's like, okay, well, this isn't like gold. Like, this is better than gold. And that's where that funding allocation goes nowadays.
Yeah,
man, that's how it can start, and possibly will start. One of my favorite quotes is from Melton. And she says, it starts slowly at first, and then it happens all at once. And I totally believe that is the way it will be with crypto. We're going to wake up one day, or come home one evening and be like, oh, wow, and that was it. That was the time to get in. Kind of like when Bitcoin was grounding around below 4,000. I think it was April 1st of last year, and that night it just took off.
The beautiful thing about crypto is it can literally happen. People say you don't make money overnight. It's like you do, but they don't take into account that you held through a bunch of shit for the past 3 years. It does happen pretty quick. I remember in the last bull market, I would wake up with, my portfolio. I had made more money than I had ever made at my 9-to-5 job. And I've worked in I've worked at a traditional finance company.
How's that now with HEX?
And now I work at tech, so I can. It's a nice crossover.
I'm saying, like, your daily portfolio gain. Have you set some records for yourself with HEX?
Yeah, it makes me feel like 2017 all over again. It's a beautiful feeling. It's such a great feeling, and just knowing that there's a community out there of real buyers and real holders.
We're all fake, man. We're all bots.
Yeah, real stakers out there.
I'm actually gonna end this live stream about 10 minutes early. Go over to Hexologist and unplug them.
Good.
Yeah.
Somebody stop that guy. Yeah. He's the most complicated bot we have.
Seriously, like the upkeep on that guy.
I know. We become self-aware. I think that's our problem. But JP Morgan are just a bunch of jerks telling everyone to stay out of crypto. I do think they're buying it up. You're right. I think that they are going to be the first ones to Like when they say crypto's a good buy, crypto's a good sell.
Yeah, they haven't come out and said that, but I guess the big news yesterday was they were going to start banking business with Coinbase and Gemini.
Yep, saw that.
So that's like a nice little crack in the door there. It's not them totally endorsing crypto. I don't expect them to do that, like you said, until their bags are filled and then we hear about it. But they're not gonna say anything. Nobody will until they have as much as they can, I believe. And it's funny, Jamie Dimon, talking crap about Bitcoin, and then he's like, "Oh, but my daughter owns one," and it's just like, she probably owns more than one, and so do you. So we'll
much
see.
more than one.
Yeah.
There's another news article. Speaking of mainstream stuff, the IRS have hired or solicited for contractors to help examine crypto traders' tax returns. So anybody out there that likes crypto for the reason it was invented, Tornado.cash is out there. But if you do ever convert into USD,
not financial advice,
you will have to report taxes. And so it's kind of funny to see a mainstream long-lasting institution like the IRS is trying to pimp out these, tech people from different companies like CryptoTrader.tax is a big one apparently that they went to, and they're looking for people to assist them in calculating taxpayers' gains or losses, probably looking for them to do a little bit of chain analysis on people that they're suspicious of. So yeah, I mean, I like crypto for the whole fact that it's an opting out of the traditional financial system.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can build more convenient ways to filter our money and to fund things that we want. Granted, we're a long way away from that. And when I do cash out for US dollars eventually, I will pay taxes, but I don't necessarily like the idea of the fact of the allocation of where my taxes end up going.
And the taxing crypto is so complicated, and it's I don't know how they're going to just fix that within like a few months or a year or two. My tax lady has a difficult time with stocks, and it's a lot of people do, but I mean, just if you trade a bit, which I don't trade much anymore, but 2 or 3 years ago, it was like a small chore to do those. Now it's like, well, crypto, if you bought this, or the rules are so different because it's currency. So they try to slap on all these restrictions or weird rules, and it's just like, good luck trying to figure that out.
I mean, maybe the on and off ramps should be policed to a degree. If you're going to go from USD to Bitcoin, and you mean maybe you should pay tax on that, but then what happens if you go from Bitcoin to USDC, right? It can't necessarily be tracked if you use an anonymous email on an exchange and go under their daily limits, but no financial advice. Just saying.
No financial advice.
Steph wants to know, he said he's all good, chilling in France at the moment, wondering if he should go all in on HEX. Dude, I thought you were already. I thought you were all in. I think you should.
I mean, close to all-time highs. I don't know if I'd do it right here, but again, not financial advice.
I've bought all-time highs in HEX, and it's just gone higher. Like, there are no dips in this thing.
Yeah, I've seen guys in private chat, I mean, when it was like, what, 0.002? And they're like, I'm buying more, and it was at a high, and, we're just like, oh, man, now might not be the best time, and 3 days later, double.
Yeah, but that's kind of another thought, too, is that now we're so spoiled by the price going up 100x in 5 months. I feel like if we ever have a significant dump again, it's going to shake out a lot of people that aren't staked. So luckily we have staking, which really makes you reconsider your pulling out early, basically. But we've never experienced like a 50% drop yet. And that happens in crypto all the time. So I don't want to sit here and just shill HEX relentlessly. Like everybody that has HEX and that owns it should be expecting a pullback of like 30 to 60% in the future. It might even happen before big payday. So
that's one thing I wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
You were talking a little bit with it, I think yesterday in the Discourse stream, and I didn't catch enough of it to know exactly what you were talking about. But I think you and Kyle may have been discussing, excuse me, the big payday and some whales and what they could do with staking before and after. Could you speak a little bit on that? Because I thought it was a very interesting discussion. I can't speak too much to it because I only heard parts of it.
Yeah. I just want to say, hey, what's up to Marty, Hodl Dog, Hexologist, Crypto Black Sheep. Oh, what's up, man? How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Is he celebrating the new highs?
You all should be celebrating new highs. Cheers to everybody again. Quarantine cheers. Quarantine and chill, everybody. Quarantine and chill. I think what Kyle was trying to say yesterday, I'm gonna butcher this because I haven't had time to really think about it. I just have been working nonstop.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I thought it was really.
I think he was saying that if whales were to stake for that time, they could dilute a lot of the non-believers that are only staking temporarily for big payday.
So before big payday, like the day before?
Yeah, or a few days before.
Okay.
And then there's the aspect of the fact that if you run good accounting on a stake, it gets taken out of the it's not staked, but it's still part of the circulating supply. So it will not get paid on big payday, but you could still or maybe it will. I don't know. I need to ask Kyle again. But
yeah, I need to re-listen to it because he's freaking smart dude, man. And
well, he invented the thing.
Yeah.
So most people don't know. People think it's all Richard too. It's like Richard had help. Like you don't just do this alone, right?
Yeah.
It's a big project. And maybe dilute was not the right word, but it can make the pool. So on big payday, everyone that staked gets a proportion of the big payday bonus paid out respective to however much hex they're staking.
Yeah.
So I guess if there was a lot of people staking for one day, which a lot of people might do, a lot of people might buy just to stake for the big payday day with the intention to sell immediately afterwards.
Yeah, so I think that conversation, if I'm recalling it correctly, had to do with a lot of those guys who are staked immediately after big payday. So it's like they just want to get there and get that big stack. But what could some whales, staking right before, what could that do, to those guys who really aren't true believers? They're just out the flip.
Well, I think what he was saying is there could be whales that pull the same stunt as the non-believers, except that the whales are believers. So they could be one-day stakers to make the big payday bonus lower for everybody. But they could choose to continue to hold because obviously we know the whales are going to hold because they're most incentivized. I mean, they have enough skin in the game that I'm betting that they're going to hold. They could sell at any time, but they could make the big payday bonus lower for everybody on a whim, kind of. And there's the other aspect on the other side of if a lot of people do sell into big payday, whoever has the ETH or, whatever whales have all that ETH could just buy it right back up. They could buy it right back up. So it's great. It's a system that keeps out non-believers because they don't want to touch it because it seems like a scam. And the people that do believe in it are all incentivized to make the price go higher with their actions, with their staking and with their buying, essentially.
Yeah. Here's another question regarding big payday. I posed this one to the discourse group a couple weeks ago, but I just want to get your take on it. I just posed it as like a poll. So big payday rolls around going into it. What do you think the penalty count is? How many billion? What's your guess? Nobody knows, but it's just fun to speculate. Like Hexologist, I think, said 1.5, and then Litecoin Moses said like 50 billion. And their explanations were, totally different, but you could understand each. Like Hexologist was like, you know what, we're kind of a third of the way through. We're at 500 million or whatever it is. 500 million? Yeah, I think we're at 500 million.
Yeah.
And, if it stays on pace, there it is. And Moses was just like, there's going to be so much going on and FOMO and people trying to get in and out and trying to game it. He's like 50 billion. And I was just like, huh. That
So
was
the
interesting.
question is, are a lot of people going to emergency unstake on big payday or not? Is that the question?
Well, I think it's just the penalties. So it would have to be before big payday. Like how many penalties are in that pot? The wall of shame or whatever. Because
That's the
right
thing.
now it was like I think it's over like it's like 5.1. No wait, 510 million or something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of FUD about the big payday hypothetical dump, this
Yeah.
mythical dump that we don't know if it's going to happen or not. And I think a lot of people are going to believe that it will happen. So they probably will emergency unstake before big payday.
And it's just a really fun stat to think about. Like the more I think about it, I don't think we'll have the same pace. I think we'll have I think both of them are right in a sense. So I kind of agree with Hexologist that we'll go, kind of stay on pace, maybe be at like a billion this summer or something like that. And then we'll still be on pace. And then October, November, I think we'll see some wild stuff then. And I'm not saying, 50 billion in penalties or anything like that, which would be ridiculous and funny to see and just wild to watch. But I would venture to say it could push like 10 billion. That would be my guess.
A lot of the people, so it's easier to emergency unstake if you've already completed most of your term.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the people that had auto stakes will emergency unstake because at that point, 99% of their term will be completed already.
And that's a good point too, is if you're automatically staked, you go right up past, that point or, right to it. So yeah, that's a good point there.
There are 520 million, so $500 million in total penalties right now.
Went up. Yeah, I haven't watched it in the
I haven't been looking either. But
thank you, Dr. Hexologist.
Yeah,
sir.
The Hex Doctor.
Glad we didn't unplug you yet.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they probably will emergency unstake at day 350, day 349 if they were auto staked till day 351, because they don't have much to lose at that point. However, because of like the law of like scale and like the fact that the Bitcoin free claimers are the only ones that had the 351 day claim, those guys got like 10x less than they could have by buying with ETH. So you've got Bitcoin free claimers that have a minuscule amount compared to HEX buyers. And I think the action of buying HEX on an exchange indicates a lot more love of the project than Bitcoin free claim. Bitcoin free claim costs you nothing. Buying with ETH costs you something. So,
and maximalists could secretly claim, not know, and get in, get out kind of thing. It's like they're not the believers or anything.
Yep. And so anyone that bought within month 1 through 5 that got at a price cheaper than 10,000 HEX per Bitcoin, which I think that's like still going on to this day. If I put in 1 Bitcoin worth of dollars, so like $9,000 into HEX, I could get a lot more than 10,000 HEX. So the break-even point for Bitcoin to HEX is not going to happen for a long time. Probably. Or not. But probably.
We don't know, but it's fun to speculate.
Yeah. It's this guy, HEX Text. If sellers dump after big payday, it will just provide immediate liquidity, and OG buyers will buy every dip.
Yeah, I've seen that one too. I mean, there's so many theories, and that's another good one that I've seen.
Yeah, it does look like a good buy the dip opportunity if there is a dip. However, I keep saying like the fundamental aspect of it, no new HEX will ever be created again, other than inflation on mistakes.
That's what's so good about getting in early, big, and long term.
Yeah.
If you're, especially, I think there's plenty of room to go from here. A lot. That's what the project was designed to do. But yeah, even more so for the early guys that got in, say pre-day 60 or whatever it was, pre-day 100, and a year from now, we could be talking pre-day 170 or wherever we are now. So
yep.
That's cool.
And then Hexologist brought up a good point that Kyle brought up. Share rate after big payday does do kind of a hockey stick type of thing. It goes up exponentially, which I didn't even really think about, because if you look on it day-to-day scale, it goes up a little bit every day, kind of gradual. You don't realize that there's a curve to that line until you zoom out. So shares are going to get a lot more expensive after big payday, and you're never going to be able to stake for the same interest rate or same share price. Basically, you're never going to make more HEX on your HEX if you stake after big payday. It's going to be significantly less. You cannot end free stake claims, dude. Oh, whoops, didn't know that. Didn't even know that. Okay.
Oh, dude.
So you can't end free stake claims. So
90% of them were auto staked for the duration.
Yeah, I didn't know you couldn't end those. I don't even look.
No, actually, they're no, that's right. Yeah, total brain lapse. Because actually, if you go into the stakes, that one I think is grayed out. So it's like, nope, you will not, end this.
Yeah, I guess I haven't looked because it's not like I even plan to. But
cheers to that.
Yeah, but that's interesting. And so those guys are forced to hold till big payday. If there is a dump afterwards, what are they going to do? What would you do? It's hard to put yourself in a position of a non-believer. If like this only works if everyone believes, but there are people that have a fundamentally different idea that HEX just is a scam, and that's a fact, or that like it is going to go to zero, and that's a fact. But they still got a little bit anyway, just to hang along for the ride, just to see what happens.
Yep.
That's like a totally different mentality than like, oh, you just stake it, it's easy, you forget about it. I like that I can forget about it and do my other work. Like I'm so busy day to day.
Yeah.
I don't have time to look at the chart.
Yeah, when I was in the discussion this morning with, the hater channel, of course they were asking me about, what I think about the project and how I'm treating it. And they were like, okay, well, what's your exit strategy? And it's like this trader's mentality is what's, I think, keeping a lot of, I guess, crypto users out of HEX, because they're here, that mentality is not keeping them out, but they're hearing it from the crypto trading community.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, you can't get out. They just don't understand this idea of staking, locking your coins. You can't sell them. I mean, you can, but you'll get penalized and you get rewarded for the longer that you stake. So it's just this novel concept that they're not.
It threw a curveball at a lot of people, especially like on Reddit, or like the main question seems to be, well, where can you sell it? It's like, that's not the point. The point, if you want mass adoption of crypto, the point is to never sell ever. You just hold it until it goes up, until it becomes, I know it sounds ridiculous, but until it becomes the dominant like world currency. That's the pie in the sky dream of every cryptocurrency enthusiast, or I thought it was.
Yeah. But and if you hold the right one, and HEX could be that right one. I mean, it's again designed to do so. I mean, the longer you hold, the more you get. And it's like, oh my gosh, if you do this math of compounding interest, and man, it's quite wonderful if more people get on board. That it's just getting that adoption.
So yeah, and maybe we are drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak. We're drinking the Kool-Aid of holding it long term. But that's the Kool-Aid. You're drinking something. But that's the entire premise that you have to buy into if you want to see cryptocurrency take over the world. If you want to sell it for US dollars one day, which you might, I probably will too, because I'm realistic as well as optimistic. But if you want to sell it for US dollars, that goes against what mass adoption is all about. You want things to be priced in Bitcoin. You want things to be priced in HEX. You want to get paid from your job in HEX, and you want to pay taxes in Bitcoin. Like you want crypto to be everywhere. You don't want to make a quick buck, hold it for 3 months, and then sell it.
No. And going back to the exit strategy, I thought of this too as part of my answer. And they were like, oh, well, you're staking. How long are you staked? I was like, well, anywhere, from a couple of years to 14. I don't know. And they're like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Because to them, it's like, you can't sell. It's like, I want my money. I want my money. That's not how it works. And if anybody was just able to just flip it, then that goes against the design of the project. Like you can do that with some other crap coin. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's just this concept of holding to, I guess, boost the project's value, the coin's value.
It's almost
Over
like,
time, locking them up is just, they can't compute it yet. And man, if they ever do, and if it starts to go viral, and it's like, okay, wow, these whales aren't dumping on my head, and all these guys are multiplying their HEX, and this is how it works. That's how we were told it worked.
Yeah. Enthusiast Crypto said we've been in a brutal bear market for over 2 years, so trading has become the new way to make profits. Yeah, it is hard to see the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when you've been wrecked 80, 90%. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. A lot of people, and it almost reminds me of, we talked a little bit with Kyle about the Ponzi-like nature of Silicon Valley and getting more and more funding from, VC company A, VC company B, etc.
And all they want to do is just build it up enough to sell it.
And the first question in Silicon Valley is, what's your exit strategy? It's not what product are you going to make to change the world. It's when are you going to sell out to Google or Facebook?
How can you get out to one of those guys?
Yeah. It's hard. You can't really recreate the original Silicon Valley. Maybe you can.
Have you seen the show? I've heard it's good, but I
love the show. It's
really?
All
right.
Yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Apparently, it's very accurate in terms of they draw a lot of parallels. Like the main company is called Hooli, and you could tell it's supposed to riff on Google.
Right.
And they have Gavin Belson, who's like just an asshole CEO that throws around billions of dollars just to flex on other CEOs and just to make a point.
Right.
Not to help anybody at all. It's all about looking good and being on the top.
Kind of like Bobby Axelrod.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, from Billions. That's a show.
I haven't. Yeah, I gotta watch that show.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, let those guys stay liquid, and we'll collect higher interest. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am a little bit liquid. I'm like less than 10% liquid, but that's only because of an emergency situation. Like, honestly, if shit hits the fan and I need money now, I want 10% liquid. But I do believe in it long term as well. I mean,
I'm fully staked in bacon.
Well, you are more of a believer than me then. Good for you.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, I can also liquidate, some Bitcoin or ETH or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something from those stacks, I can move, feel better about moving because I'm not getting, more HEX for it.
Yeah. And RG3, I think, is right. A lot of people that are wrecked need liquid assets. I am the most wrecked guy that I know. I was on top of the world in 2017, and now, I mean, I didn't lose at all. I'm net positive, but the pain of loss is greater than the benefit of gain, right? So,
yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's 3 years away, it's still, the feeling is fresh in my mind. Saw that hate group stream. It was unbearable. Yeah. It was unbearable. I had to turn it off right after Cabana Finance shilled my HEX obituaries link.
Hey, represent.
Thanks for that, by the way. Yeah,
I hope some people went.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some donations or referral bonuses.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, we discussed this last video, but we haven't mentioned it yet so far in this one. So that idea was born last video. You actually wrote the idea down. So it's live now. So you haven't talked about it, I don't think. So go ahead and shill it, man.
Oh yeah, I just whipped it up. That was a good idea. So we came up with this idea on the stream, and I was like, oh, I should go make that. So over the weekend, I just made it. It's called hex-obituaries.com. I'll pull it up. Obituaries.com. Let me see if screen share.
Uh-oh, careful.
I know, right? Careful of everything. If I press share screen, is that going to share my main screen, or is that going to share a screen of my choice? I guess that's a question for a hexologist.
I was going to say, I'm not a StreamYard pro.
What happens if I press the share screen button? I mean, I don't really have anything embarrassing up here. It's just Telegram, YouTube, Google Ads. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, we got
he gave it the Richard treatment. He's like, yeah, one day I'll share my screen. But no.
Yeah. Check out hex-obituaries.com, guys. I'll put it in the chat. A lot of people write articles about how Hex has died, and mostly it was in January when it launched. So everyone hopped on that.
The 1 month exit scam.
Right.
That was my favorite. Yeah.
Right. Oh, Hexologist says you choose which one. I don't know. I have a big blue share screen button. Should I do it? A friendly heads up. Oh my God, there's like 2 modals that come up in between. Ah, here we go. Nice. Okay. Your entire screen, an application window, a Chrome tab. Let's just share a Chrome tab. Nice and safe. All right. Can everyone see this? Yeah. Hex obituaries. Thanks, Hexologist. I almost had a heart attack. This is it. You can basically see I'm collecting articles. So CoinGeek on January 10th, Crypto News on December 12th, Crypto Slate, News BTC. There's probably a few more that I haven't gotten yet. We've got a Ledger link over here. You can submit your own. And then we offer grief and healing support for anyone that's been hurt by these articles. So you can join the Telegram channel. We're all here for you. Or the adoption amplifier for Hexaholics Anonymous. We've got a nice little price chart here too, just to, if you guys haven't seen, zoom out a little bit. Maybe you won't feel that wrecked. It's pretty great. So that's all. Good to know about the sharing screen thing. So these free claimed that just claimed are now auto staked months beyond big payday. Ah, yeah, that's another really good point. If you didn't free claim right away and you free claimed halfway through, you're auto staked with no opt out option until like day 600 or 500. So they can't dump in big payday. Now, if they claim day 1, they're just shy of big payday. Yeah, it's a good point. Totally forgot about that.
I mean, they're also diluted. They diluted themselves a bit, and shipped some back to the Hex National Treasury or International Treasury, which, hey, we're all fans if we're all staked. But yeah, they are staked past big payday.
Yeah.
I think it was only 3-4 days initially. Don't even quote me on that, but it was, if you auto free claimed or whatever on the first day, I think it was a few days short of big payday, but don't quote me on that. It's been so long, and I was in the AA and concentrating on that. So
yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question. So Richard's all about life extension and giving to the Sense Foundation and going for basically investing in shit that'll save your life. Are you afraid to die?
I don't know. I mean,
why not?
I don't want to get into too much religion, but I don't know. I'm strong with my faith, and I think the more comfortable you come with that, no matter what you believe in, if it's, a holy duck or something, if your faith is strong enough in that and you believe that that's your
StreamYard duck. I'm
salvation.
StreamYard duck.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the motto.
No, but if you're comfortable with that, then I think you can achieve, a certain inner peace. Not want to get too deep, but yeah, I'm good with it. It's a frame of mind, and that's a deep question, but I'll turn it back to you. How about you?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. It depends on the day.
Yeah.
If I drink too much coffee, then yes. If I'm chilling, if I've had some experiences in my life where I feel like it's going to be okay no matter what.
Yeah.
So I would say for 90% of the time, no. But I do want life extension at the same time. I think it's a noble cause. And
no, I totally
I can get 500 years of really, really healthy life. I'd rather have that. Definitely don't want like 400 years of painful agony, though. That does not sound too good.
No, not at all. And it's actually funny that you brought that up, because I was going to do a hypothetical video today. And ended up on another stream, and then work just blew me out. So I'll hopefully get that up tomorrow, but it will talk about, just an overarching picture of and involving medical research and stuff like that. So I don't want it to be too long, hopefully 5 to 10 minutes, but
yeah, that should be good.
A quick little thing. But
cool.
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought that up, because that if you take the helicopter view of HEX, that's actually a part of it in a sense, right?
Right.
And part of that is, okay, well, if that is an end goal of someone, that's quite ambitious. I mean, hats off to you. But it also takes a lot of money to accomplish. So that to do that much good for the world, it won't come cheap. And
yeah,
awesome. More power to you if you can do it.
Absolutely. Next question. Recycling. What do you think about it? Everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about recycling.
Yeah.
I feel like it's beating a dead horse, but
well, you just brought it up again, man.
I know.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll answer this a different way, or just take this off into a slightly different path. But when that came up in the hater stream, again, I bring up a hater stream just because I think it's good to experience this. These people, be around, see what they think, see what kind of questions that they're asking, because I think it does you better, and it reinforces your faith if you can, be in a room with these guys. And not that I had any doubts, but anyway, it turned into an ethics question, which was really funny because even lawyer guy jumped in and was like, I think it was lawyer guy. Somebody jumped in and we're like, it shouldn't. You got to be careful about bringing ethics into crypto, because for a lot of these projects, there's not. Yeah. And they were like, well, the next one was like, well, if it's not the, Ethereum, do you trust Richard? I'm like, yeah, there you go. See, he knows. And I was just like, and it turned into like this social exercise of,
Right.
Do you trust Richard? And I was like, well, I've never met the man, but I've listened to hours, well, probably days or weeks of him, talking and watching him and reading his books and stuff like that. And I'm a fan. And I was like, well, I kind of turned it around. I was like, well, back in 2017 or whatever, it was like, would you have trusted Charlie Lee? I was like, seems like a really nice guy. Yeah. Super knowledgeable. I mean, he built on top of, I guess, Bitcoin in a way, or borrowed the code or whatever. Right. But he dumped on everybody's head. Like that is the definition. And I think I wanted to find it before we got on tonight, but I think like back when he did that, he kind of hinted that he would get back in because all cryptos, dump like 90%, so this will happen. Litecoin did, but did he buy at the bottom? No. And is he buying now? No. So this is like, I think he's just like, chilling, on a beach somewhere.
Yeah. The whole ethics question is kind of stupid. Ethics in crypto's unethical by everyone that's outside of crypto standards. I mean, if ethics are just like the morality of the group, ethics is what the social group thinks is right and wrong. A lot of people outside of crypto think that crypto is super wrong. Like, you can't be in crypto. It's just making money, printing money out of thin air. Whereas like we in crypto, we have a fundamentally different viewpoint socially that we're trying to explain to the outside world. It's like, hey, you can do this and you should, because of things like censorship, centralization, people exerting their power, and like basically the inequalities in the effectiveness of violence, the ability for a government to employ violence over somebody else very far away, and capital controls, things like that. But that's the social norm for anyone outside of crypto. So if you want to talk about ethics, it's like we're pushing a different ethical standard in cryptocurrency in general to the outside world. And if you want this stuff to go up in price, if you want people to adopt it, I mean, who's to say what is right and wrong that way? And even so, I don't understand. Like the whole ethical thing just seems very subjective to who you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my take on it.
Yeah, and in a way, like, you know, the thin air argument, I'm just like, come on. It's like Bitcoin can actually be considered a better money than what we have now, based upon most of the properties that it has. Now, it's slow. It's awful in that respect, but in terms of, you know, future store of value and, you know, being able to send, you know, say what, in 2008, you couldn't send like $1 million to somebody in China or something like that.
Well, you can't enter an airport if you have 10,000 cash in your suitcase.
Yeah.
But you can carry 12 words in your head that are equivalent to $1 million, you know? So It's great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that part, I mean, there are so many great things about Bitcoin. It's just, you know, what was it? What was it? Magic Money. Remember that video? It's like a YouTube video, and it's like how Bitcoin will change the world. And it was created maybe 2015 or something like that. And the ideas behind that are great.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they're showing, you know, sending Bitcoin and how easy it is, but, you know, it still takes like what, 30 minutes or an hour or what. It's like, oh, it's unbearable right now. And that is what is, you know, holding it back from mass adoption right now as a currency. Now, store of value, awesome. I mean, stock market is, you know, taking a little bit of a hit here lately. Bitcoin's coming right back after the halving.
It's going to do so well, I think, after it proves itself to be non-corollary to a giant S&P dump. But Vince Chang says, in terms of HEX, the code is complete. RH is, dare I say, irrelevant. Very, very spicy take, Vince Chang. Obviously a very spicy take. What do you think about Richard Hart? If he were to get hit by a bus, God forbid, Richard, I hope you're doing okay. But if he were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, I don't really think anything would happen to the price. I don't know.
Yeah,
we're all buying it because we're expecting anything out of Richard. He built a product and it's out there in the world.
Yeah.
And he's really set the expectation of like, hey, I'm not going to do any work for you guys.
Yeah. There's two schools of thought on that. And I think you hit the one. It's like no expectations. Yeah. Hey, you know, we say that all the time. The other is, though, that he is a genius marketer. Not to say he's doing any marketing right now, but his presence, his, you know, live streams, he keeps, you know, he does, as the founder, talks about the project.
He has been doing them less and less, though.
Yes, he has.
Right.
But I still don't mind, you know, the education of people when it can happen. But yeah, that's a very interesting point. You know, not that I want to ponder Richard getting hit by a bus, but
I hate thinking about it. But if we made new all-time highs today, and Richard Hart didn't make a live stream, and it's not like there's any positive news articles about HEX.
Yeah.
There's nothing. No one's saying anything good online about it, and yet people are still buying it because they like the idea of something that pays them interest over time. That's digital, censorship resistant, decentralized, all that stuff. I like the fact that it's becoming less dependent on Richard.
Yeah, he just actually tweeted. It's almost like he was like listening to the stream, even though I doubt it. But he was like, "Bitcoin can't be worth anything. It's printed out of thin air. What's your favorite answer to this question?" Mine is the chart, and it's just like,
yeah, new all-time highs, and haven't heard from Richard in a while. Oh, but I just heard from him. Look at that. The bus is gonna have to come through my wall. Richard, I hope you don't get anywhere near a bus in the next few months.
Right.
My air money is better than your air money. Yeah, I know. RG3, that's all this is, man. It's my made-up currency is better than yours.
Baseball cards, man. Baseball cards.
Yeah. I got a rare Beanie Baby, and you have a holographic Charizard, and
I have no idea what those things are. Or Beanie Babies, I guess.
Oh, you don't know Pokemon?
No.
The Pokemon thing.
Oh, gotcha.
All good. Positive news about HEX. Yeah, that's a good one. I would love to see the day where there's like actually an article that is positive about HEX. There actually might be a few out there, but they're not easy to find.
There was one a couple weeks ago I was actually quite surprised by, and I enjoyed reading it. It was actually well done, and it wasn't like written in crayon like a lot of those hate pieces were in January.
Gets the clicks, man.
Yeah, it does, I guess. But,
Yeah. So the big argument is flush address and potential recycling is unethical. Someone that's anonymous will dump on big payday. And what else? I don't like that somebody owns that one address has 50% of the bonuses.
yeah, and then like someone's personality rubs me the wrong way. It's like stuff like that. But yeah, you're talking more, actually, coin metrics there. But
yeah. Well, it's hard, it's hard to hear the truth sometimes. People like their complicated, whatever Link is. Link is what everyone likes. Link. It's what an oracle that people.
According to Richard, they are fake oracles. He's actually answered my question about that because I asked him to explain it because he and Kyle are no fans at all, and I'd love to just hear Richard talk about some different coins that are in like top 15 because it was an interesting explanation. I don't want to get too technical because that's not my kind of thing. I'm more into price and buy and hold and stuff like that. But even Kyle spoke to it yesterday on the live stream, and it's they're not true oracles, and I understand what he's saying there is like there is still like I guess a point of failure, and a true oracle would not have that. But I will say I think Link is so popular because they have their hands in everything. It seems that's like they're I don't want to say it's their marketing strategy because actually they do a fairly good job of not promoting themselves. I think I think they make a fairly decent point of not doing that. But you look at the list of, and I don't like to say the word partnerships because Ripple has partnerships, but the I guess the partners and people who are in business with Link, it's quite the impressive list, and I think that name recognition, is easy to. It translates easier to. Joe Schmo off the street be like, oh, this Link, they have a relationship with these companies that I know. Right. So they feel much more comfortable buying. And and I admit I own some. It's probably, I think, I know, but I have a diverse portfolio, but it's my smallest stack behind Bitcoin and ETH and some Tezos. So,
ooh, Tezos, how dare you?
Yeah,
how dare you?
I like to diversify my staking coins, and soon ETH will join them. So
I got involved in the ICO of Tezos. I staked it for 3 months, and I made 300 Tezos, which is like Tezos is like what $2 now, $3. So I made $400 over
$258. Yeah.
So I made like $500 over 3 months. I think the returns on HEX are better. They're a lot better.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit better.
Yeah. It's funny that I just rattle off some names there that in my portfolio, and of course HEX is there, and it kind of started out Bitcoin is where we at. Bitcoin is like here with Mr. Duck, and then everything else is like down here, and then HEX, and then HEX, and HEX, and I mean the price chart just takes it, and it's unreal. Like again, it's staked, but still, it's watching unrealized gains is pretty cool, and it's not anything that I have expectations of, but it's still cool to see that and be a part of it, and watch it play out as we keep going.
Well, it's interesting that you say that Link hasn't had much marketing. I don't really know much about, I don't follow the marketing campaigns of any other cryptocurrency, but it's nice to know that things can do well without marketing. I've actually read a few articles recently, or maybe not articles, but just threads on Y Combinator about questioning the effectiveness of marketing, right? So how can you really prove that your ad dollars are they're actually converting to direct users? And it's really, really hard to do. It's hard for me to do running an ad campaign. I can track views and percentage of the way that people made it through the video, but it's hard for me to track other than referrals, which is a nice feature that allows me to actually track that stuff. It's hard to track who saw a video to who actually bought, and it's hard to gauge the actual ROI for your ad spend. So there's a lot of, I guess, skepticism out there about, are your ads really doing you any good? I like to believe that they are, just because it, gives you recognition and it builds brand awareness. So even if I don't buy it right away, at least it's in my head. At least I've seen Richard Hart's face, or at least I've seen the HEX logo.
Right.
At least I know the general concept. But tying the two together of ad view to buy, to HEX buy, it's hard to do. And if anyone else is running a campaign out there, you guys want to share results, let me know.
Yeah, all I have is like keyword results, but I've done,
you can do it used to be called AdWords. Now it's just called Google Ads.
Yep.
But you can do a search-based ad that just puts hex.win or whatever, go.hex.win at the top of the search result.
Done it.
I got banned. You got through?
Yeah.
I got my whole account banned for that.
Really? When did you do it?
January. I think it might have been, in retrospect, it was probably my language. I used some very acute.
Yeah, but I mean, they'll just give you usually they just flag you and you can rewrite the ads. And
usually, yeah, but
that's what I did. And I don't have them turned on right now, but I've been playing with it, and I could turn them on today and they would appear.
Have you had any referrals?
That's interesting. I have one. So one.
There you go.
So worth it, I guess. But,
yeah. Hopefully it was a whale, but probably not.
I think it was actually a fairly decent one for HEX speaking, because it wasn't recent. I think it was a couple months ago. So was it a free claim? I don't know.
Yeah,
but it paid for the ads, so can't complain. But even then, I wasn't expecting anything from it. No expectations. But it was fun to play with and learn. And I think that's another cool thing about our community is, just all the different, side projects and some of the stuff that's even being built on top of HEX. I think RG3 had a stream a couple of days ago. I didn't even understand half of it, because I'm not like about, building on top of HEX. Just give me the HEX baby and let me stake it, and that's all I care about. And
I love hex.business because I can tell that it's a rabbit hole. And I don't have time to look into it, but I'm really, really glad that someone is building it, because it looks like a deep, deep rabbit hole where like you can convert 1,000 hex to 1 HXY and somehow use it as like a lending platform. Hexy. Yeah, it sounds nice too. It's hexy. But I'm glad someone's building that. I haven't heard it explained in a simple way.
Yeah, that's where I kind of got lost.
I mean, I'll look into it one day. But I'm really glad that it seems like even the people like Trayvon James and the YouTubers that are all after a quick buck, they're promoting games on top of HEX. They're not even promoting HEX because their attention spans are so low that they like to see immediate gains.
And that goes back to that trader's mentality that we were talking about.
Yeah. And so people are building games for those types of people on top of HEX. So there's a place for those kinds of people. If they want to come play lottery games or play hourglass games, you can do all that.
Right.
I'm just going to stake it till I make it.
That's right.
HEX was number 2 coin. Was my second coin that I've put the most into. Now it's the coin I have the most USD value in. Me too, dude. Me too. Actually, I still own a bag of Bitcoin. So it's Bitcoin and HEX only for me. But I recently experienced a flippening of my own where my HEX bag exceeded the value of my Bitcoin bag.
Crazy to watch, man. And just the gradual, it's like as HEX goes up the market cap and you read, oh, we just flipped, this crap coin and this crap coin. And it's like you can see it in your portfolio. If you have, some alts and Bitcoin, and it's the same thing. You just watch the flippening within. And this is cool.
Yeah, I had my own little flippening, so it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. What time does Hexologist go on?
I think it's like 7:40, 7:50 Eastern, but
we got a few minutes. We'll do
he'll tell us, he'll chime in.
Yeah. Hexologist, don't let us interrupt you, man. You can do your thing. But I'll be there in the chat too. Do you think of HEX as like I don't know. It's kind of like a black swan event, right? So it's going to overtake anybody, but it's going to be like a Trojan horse. So a lot of people aren't going to see it coming. What do you think it's going to be like when it finally gets listed on CoinMarketCap? It's a weird phenomenon. It's never happened before.
I just touched on this in chat either this morning or yesterday. That's like one of the most interesting questions right now. So, thanks, Hexologist. Yeah. So there's a lot of talk within the community of, oh, when will we get listed here? When this? And I'm in no hurry, really. I mean, and there's two schools of thought, I guess, behind it. Is like the sooner that we get on exchanges, price go up. But to your Trojan horse point, it's like, okay, well, HEX crosses 100 or $1 billion market cap. Does anybody know about it? No. And then it gets listed on, some big exchanges, after big payday or right before it or something like that. And it's like, well, what happened to Ripple? Why is that down actually from number 3? Why is Ethereum not, number 2 anymore? What is this thing? And then it's just like, that's a fantasy, I guess, but it would be interesting, because all the eyeballs immediately go to that, and it's like, well, where did this thing come from? Trojan horse kind of thing that you were mentioning, and bam. So
I don't know a whole lot of people that like Ripple publicly either, but it's regularly number 2 or 3 or 4 crypto, and I don't see people really even talking about it. I guess I'm not looking in the right places. I'm not following Ripple news or anything, but
you're not a member of the XRP army, bro.
Well, it's all bots, just like us. But yeah, I think people must just brush it off. And the longer something's been around, maybe they just waste their time. Maybe they just burn out all their energy on all their gatekeeping and hate speech. And they just kind of tire themselves out. Maybe that's what happens.
That's the case here.
Yeah, it's like, how hard can you keep yelling at something? It's not going to make it go away.
Yeah,
like screaming about it. But
it's like I compare HEX to the stock market. Chicken Little collars, and it's like, if you look at like let's see, where are we at? Stock market chart, and it's like, okay, well, we have a little rise in the stock market, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to crash. No, it's going to crash. No, it's going to crash. No, and it just keeps going up, and then we finally get like a little dip, and it's, I told you so. Well, you just missed this entire game.
People don't like to zoom out. And then it's like the Warren Buffett quote: the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. So I mean, it's true. There might not be a rational reason to you, but apparently you were wrong, and then you have to adjust what actually happened. Like, just because you think that HEX going up is irrational, quote unquote, you have to admit that you were wrong at this point, and there must have been a very rational reason for these people buying it, which is a pretty simple reason. They buy it because it's going to go up, and they buy it because it has gone up.
Yeah. So what happens?
It has gone up.
Yeah. What happens if a couple of years from now, hypothetically, we have Bitcoin, Ethereum take off, HEX goes along with it, and then end of cycle comes, and we get a big dump of like 70% or something like that. They'll be the first in line to be like, told you so, told you so. But even then, after that dump, it'll still be well above what most likely anybody or most people got in at early on.
Right.
And it's like, you didn't tell me anything. Like, it's just the same as the stock market, skies falling people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess there's stock market people like that out there too. There's, people that cry wolf every day until you get a month like February.
And there were so many I told you so's, and
all their clout for the previous 5 years of financial FUD, basically.
Yeah.
It's traditional finance guys too. Like, there's some dude, the Dollar Vigilante.
Yep, I know him well.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but I'm very familiar with his content. And he gets into a lot of conspiracy theory, which I'm not a fan of, but he's entertaining. I'll give it to him.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
puts stuff out there that is different, and that's what I like.
right. Well, the conspiracy theory stuff gets clicks and gets views, which is
Yeah.
why I'm a big fan of starting conspiracy theories for HEX too, but ones that favor us. So my conspiracy theory is that there's not just one whale that owns the origin address. It's not just Richard Hart. I think he's actually like a front man for a whole group of almost like the modern day cypherpunks that you'll never ever get to meet. But
He
there's
knows
like,
a whole school of ETH Genesis whales.
yeah, it's a school of whales, and they travel together, but they're very dark and mysterious. So
That's right.
if you guys want to go try to find out who they are, be my guest.
Yeah, man.
All right, we should probably let Hexologist go, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, everybody go watch Hexologist, Cabana Finance. It's been great talking to you. We'll do another one soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks to Linda who subscribed.
Oh,
you
got a subscriber.
Huge numbers this week. Hey, I'm developing more content.
100% increase from 1 to 2.
Exactly. Thanks. Yeah. No, more content and stuff like that this summer. But yeah, so it's such a good time to hang out with you, man. I mean, we chatted for long time and didn't even feel like it. So
that's right.
Go catch Hexologist. Yeah, we will.
See you guys.
Yep.